Hello and welcome to Brewers Daily. I'm your host, Dave Gasper. Lots to get into here on a Tuesday show. We know the Brewers' opening day opponent on the mound. We'll get into that. We got some notes coming out of Brewers camp as well to talk about. But also, where we got to start here is the latest round of Brewers camp cuts that they announced here on Monday, because minor league camp is now officially opening here today. So a lot of these guys who were over in Major League Camp for a big portion for the first half here of spring training, they are now going to be back over on the minor league side, as those games are going to be getting underway here through the next couple of weeks. So the Brewers made their announcement. Several players reassigned to minor league camp. Those players including Sammy Peralta and Jefferson Caro, who were optioned to AAA Nashville because they are on the 40-man roster. So Jefferson Caro officially out of the backup catcher mix, and he's going to be getting regular playing time down there in AAA. We'll have more on Jefferson Caro coming up. Sammy Peralta, the waiver claim from the Angels late last October. He gets sent back down. He seemed like a long shot to make the roster to begin with as well. And then the players reassigned to minor league camp include Luke Adams, Greg Jones, Eddys Leonard, Jesus Made, the number one prospect in the Brewers organization. He is included here. And then catchers Darian Miller, Ramon Rodriguez, and Matt Wood. Obviously, the headliner there is Jesus Made. Luke Adams, another top prospect as well, corner infielder. But Jesus Made gets reassigned to minor league camp. And being a non-roster invitee at 18 years old is quite the accomplishment. Being there in big league camp, learning from Bryce Terang and Joey Ortiz back before they left for the World Baseball Classic. But just learning from the veteran guys, being with them every single day. There was a lot for him to take in, a lot for him to impress upon the coaching staff, and he was able to do so. He had a very strong, very solid camp. Had some impressive base hits as well, some impressive exit velocities in Cactus League games. So for Jesus Made, a really good camp. I know some people may have had some high hopes for Made to make the roster, but that was never going to happen this season. He only has a few days of AA experience. He's not even close quite yet. So he's going to go to AA Biloxi this year, and we'll see how he does. It's not a very hitter-friendly league in the Southern League, but still, if he's going to be able to rake, he certainly looks like he's about ready to take a step forward, because Jesus Made, he gained like 25 pounds this offseason. He put on a ton of muscle. He put on a ton of weight. So for him, obviously the raw power is in there with the bat speed. So now it's just a matter of getting to it in games. So that added extra strength, that added muscle, probably going to go a long way in terms of helping him get to muscle some balls over the fence. So very excited for Jesus Made. He's going to work on his defense, because that's always the important thing when it comes to the Milwaukee Brewers. But still, very exciting camp for Jesus Made, but now he gets going on the minor league side. Luke Adams, another really good camp as well. He's going to be a nice big prospect for the Brewers. Showcased himself well. Was able to impress upon the big league coaches a little bit, and now gets to be back on the minor league side. Greg Jones, we've seen a lot of in Cactus League play here, including getting the start on Monday despite being reassigned. He's going to be in AAA Nashville most likely, and just kind of being some organizational filler down there. Same with Eddys Leonard. I thought maybe at the beginning of camp he could have had an outside chance of pushing for a roster spot. That was before they signed Luis Rengifo. After they signed Rengifo, well, Eddys Leonard, you kind of ran out of track there to through no fault of his own, but he just became blocked at that spot. And then the catchers, none of them really were. I mean, you need a ton of catchers in camp early on, just purely because you have that many pitchers that need to throw. They got to throw their bullpens. They got to get ready. You got to have enough catchers for that. So Miller, Rodriguez, Wood. I mean, there's some of the they represent the catching depth at the top of the organizational ladder. AA, AAA. So, they get their opportunities. They get to catch a bunch of these guys, but now they're going to be catching the pitchers over on the minor league fields as spring training goes along. So there's going to be more rounds of camp cuts. Still lots of guys left in spring training in big league camp. So we'll see who ends up getting moved out next. And of course, we'll be talking about it here on Brewers Daily. So be sure to subscribe, get notified every single time a new episode drops, because you never know when the Brewers are going to be making those cuts. But okay, we do have some camp notes to get to as well, outside of just the cuts, because we want to think about positive things as well, not just the negatives of these guys getting told that they're not going to be making the roster. So one of these guys that did get cut, Jefferson Caro, he has had a bit of a winding road the past couple of seasons. Opening day 2024, dives back into first base, jams his shoulder, tears his shoulder, needs to have surgery, and is out for the entire season. And since then, it's been a slow road, and trying to come back in 2025, gets delayed by a hamstring injury, his shoulder maybe not coming back as well as they had hoped. Offense, a little bit slow going. Defense, certainly slower to come back. Caro was known for being a guy with an elite throwing arm behind the plate. And last season, that throwing arm did not look elite. It did not look really anything close to elite to what it was. So that was very concerning for his potential future, for his potential value. In order to stay at the catcher position and to be a regular, he's got to have that throwing arm. And according to, so I saw this from Adam McCalvey, had a great piece on, really the piece was on Made, but he also had a note in there, Pat Murphy talking about Jefferson Caro. Caro's pop times are back in the 1.9 second range. So the pop time is from when catcher catches the pitch and then is able to throw it down to second base on a steal attempt, and it pops the mitt of the second baseman or the shortstop, whoever's coming. So the time from pop to pop, that's the pop time. And it was down in the 1.9 second range. So that is far closer to what Caro had been before the injury. And it's within that acceptable range for major league catchers. Because if you're going to be throwing out the Trey Turners and the Bobby Witt Juniors of the world, you have to have a very fast, you have to have that kind of pop time. So having that kind of progression is a good sign for Jefferson Caro's arm strength coming back now that he's further removed from the shoulder surgery. So that's very exciting for him, for his potential future. Very underrated part of this because he has to have that defense. The offense can be really good. He does have some power in there. But as a catcher, if you can't be strong defensively, if you can't hold base runners, then it's going to be hard for you to be able to play every single day, for you to be the future at catcher for the organization. And that's what the Brewers have been looking at Caro as for the past several years. That's what he was looking like he was going to be, especially with William Contreras now at 2 years of team control remaining. He was going to be that long-term guy. If they don't sign Contreras, Caro would seem to be the one in line, but you got to have that throwing arm. So it seems to be coming back. That is very good news to hear. Also, Aaron Ashby talked about this during the game against the Dodgers. He tried out Brandon Sproat's slider, playing catch with them. Just kind of just like, okay, what's your slider grip? Let's just mess with that. And tries it out in catch. And then tries it out in the game against the Dodgers. And he liked it. He liked the way that it was moving. He was able to get some good movement on it. Good looks at it. Liked how it felt out of his hand. So, hey, that can bring a slider back for Aaron Ashby, another potential weapon for him to use, and that's part of the joy of having spring training, being able to try out new pitches. It's the perfect time to do it. Trying it out against the Dodgers is certainly a bold strategy, but the Dodgers didn't really bring a ton of their A players to this game because they were traveling on the road to American Family Fields of Phoenix. They only had a couple of their starters, Teoscar Hernandez, Max Muncy in there, so but still was able to get in, able to use it, and he liked the way that the pitch worked. So we may see a slider as a big part of the arsenal now for Aaron Ashby going forward, borrowing it from Brandon Sproat. So that's very, very interesting development as well. Also, Jake Bauers is on a roll here in spring training. He homered again against the Dodgers. He's up to 3 homers on the spring now, hitting .529 with an 1843 OPS. That's pretty darn good. So Jake Bauers is on a roll. And I know I was kind of talking before on previous shows about Tyler Black and how his path... Tyler Black has been playing phenomenally in spring. And of course now playing for Team Canada in the World Baseball Classic. The only path really for Tyler Black to make the roster is for him to take Jake Bauers' spot. And the Brewers having to sour on Jake Bauers. That rhymes. Was not intending for that. But it would take the Brewers souring on him. And when Jake Bauers is hitting .529 with an 1843 OPS with 3 bombs, I don't think the Brewers are going to be souring on him anytime soon. So, Jake Bauers having a fantastic spring. So good for him. He's entering his final season of team control with the Brewers as well. Okay, so opening day coming up in just a couple of weeks here. The Brewers are facing the Chicago White Sox for opening day. The Brewers have not named their opening day starter quite yet because Brandon Woodruff's still kind of in the feeling things out phase, and Quinn Priester has been having some issues with his wrist. So could it be Jacob Misiorowski? That's very possible. Could Woodruff be ready? Who knows? But in terms of who the Brewers hitters will be facing for the Chicago White Sox, we do know, and it will be Shane Smith. That's right, the former Brewers prospect Shane Smith. And he's got taken in the Rule 5 draft prior to last season, and he ended up making their roster and sticking the whole season. Shane Smith, fantastic pitching prospect. I argued the Brewers should have kept him. They did not. The White Sox took him, and he did phenomenal. I mean, he was an all-star over there last season, and now he gets to be the opening day starter. So the Brewers get to face one of their old prospects that they didn't want to protect. I understood that they had depth at the time, and it was going to be hard to find a spot for him, but still... it does kind of sting a little bit, but he gets to face the Brewers on opening day. What's left is for the Brewers to figure out who their opening day starter is going to be. Will it be Brandon Woodruff? If they can get the schedule to work out on time, I think they will name him opening day starter. But if not, I don't think they're going to necessarily push it. And I think then you're going to be looking at Jacob Misiorowski as your opening day starter. And that would be quite the matchup, Miz versus Shane Smith. So very excited for that potential matchup to see those guys take each other on. But that's who it will be on opening day, Shane Smith. Okay, and one guy who will not be pitching on opening day or pitching again as he announces his retirement is Julio Teheran, Brewers legend. That's right, I am giving him Brewers legend status for his 6-start run in 2023. I mean, it was generational what he put up in that stretch. I mean, the Brewers rotation was in dire straits. I mean, they had just been decimated by injuries. They needed someone to come in and stabilize that rotation in late May. And who comes in? It's the veteran Julio Teheran. And Teheran, through his first 6 starts with the Brewers, had a 1.53 ERA. It was an insane run. Just being able to, and not only did he have that, he hit it in 35 1/3 innings. Okay, he went 6 innings, 4 of the 6 times. He went 6 complete innings. He went 7 innings in the game against Oakland, giving up 1 run. 7 innings of 1-run ball. Just truly an electric performance, an electric run that he went on from a guy whose career was basically done for. The Brewers picked him up off the scrap heap and put him in there, and he put on an insane run for about a month, and then it caught up to him. Gave up 7 runs against the Mets, gave up 6 runs against the Cubs, gave up 4 against the Phillies, then bounced back a little bit against Atlanta, gave up 1 run over 6, then had to face Atlanta again his next turn in the rotation, gave up 9 runs over 5, and after that he was done for in the starting rotation. But hey, he served his purpose, a generational run for the Milwaukee Brewers, but still, Teheran, overall, he had a great run coming up as a 20-year-old with the Atlanta Braves, played 13 years in the big leagues, and he's retiring at 35. You'd think for a pitcher who has been, really good, that there'd be more in the tank, but a lot of innings on his arms. I mean, coming up as a 20-year-old, a lot of innings, a lot of pressure on him. So he ends up retiring here at the end of the World Baseball Classic, and 13-year MLB career. Congrats, Julio, on a great career. Enjoy retirement at 35 years old. We all wish we could be there and retire at that age as well. But appreciate everything that he did. Julio Teheran had a great run as a Milwaukee Brewer. And also Paulo Espino. I saw retired as well. Had been playing for Panama in the World Baseball Classic. Spent a ton of years in the minor leagues. Brewers called him up for his big league debut several years ago, and he ended up carving out a nice little MLB career for himself as well. But he has announced his retirement also from professional pitching. So, it's that time of year. Some of these guys they're on their last run, and the last run they can have for some of them is with the national team in the WBC. So, congrats to Julio, congrats to Paolo Espino. And on to the next as the World Baseball Classic continues here. Spring training continues. We'll be covering it all right here on Brewers Daily, so be sure to follow and subscribe. Get notified every single time a new episode drops. And appreciate you watching, appreciate you enjoying, and we'll see you again next time for another episode of Brewers Daily.